original video was about guys being punished a lot more harshly in schools if they do something, and the girls are punished for something similar, far less, right, physically. So as usual, they always have to be victims, and you'd see how many likes this comment has. Bro, agreed that you got more physical punishments because you were a boy, but was your character questioned if the length of your pants was little less than directed? What was your parenting questioned when you laughed too loud and talked about sex, when guys openly laughed on these jokes? These things were never allowed, never told to guys, but teachers, especially female teachers, kept an eye on the length of our skirts. A little maintained here. They were taught this secretly. All right, I would have to say a lot of things right here. First of all, let's be very clear about this. Men see women's thighs, legs, their breasts as sexually attractive. You can't just start crying about, but bro, why is it? Why can't men just stop seeing this as sexual? Why do men have to sexualize? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. It's just biological. You have to understand that men see women's fat depositions as sexually attractive. It's true about the boobs, it's true about the thighs, it's true about the ass, and that's the reason you can't just do this. It's for the same reason that men are told to not grow out their hair. They're not allowed to keep long hair because longer hair is more sexually attractive to women. It's the same reason people expect men to also not roam around shirtless if they have a nice frame, like, because that is sexually attractive. I remember a lot of times a guy would just open up one of his chest buttons, and that would be a huge deal. That would be a huge deal if one of his chest buttons was open. About sex jokes, Now this was a bit about snitching, but I always remember laughing loudly, and then getting caught. She is talking about how if you laughed loudly, did you ever get caught? No, 100% of times I laughed loudly, I did get punished every time by the teachers. And of course, as a result of that, guys don't really laugh out loudly. Women have a tendency to cackle and laugh a lot more than guys do when they are together. Guys talk in silence. And yes, there was once that a teacher, she's talking about sex because guys talk a lot more slowly. Girls have a tendency to just speak out this shit as like proper gossip, something that you can say as like a mean sort of thing, like something that is perfectly normal to gossip about. And this is a fact that guys don't really discuss a lot about sex. It's a part of our discussions, sure, but most of the times guys are not talking about sex. Guys are not talking about people in general. Do you know who talks more about people? Women talk more about people. Women talk 2.5 times more about people than guys talk about people. Even if guys are more horny, by that absolute number, women are talking more about sex. So yes, if guys are getting punished less, it's because they are not talking enough. So if you are talking from personal experience, there was a joke, in Bengal, in India, you have like this gigantic red light area, and there was some guy who was joking about Sonargachila, right? It's probably like the biggest red light area in Bengal. And then there was this male English teacher, he heard that and he slapped the living hell out of the four of us who were talking about this. It was incredibly uncommon for us to actually talk about sex and shit like that. It's much more common for girls, and that is the reason that girls get punished for it, right? And it's not like if guys did the same thing, they wouldn't be punished 10 times harsher for it. If guys grew out their longer hair, they were publicly humiliated. They would have their hair being tied out. Girls remember this shit because girls have a very thin skin, literally and figuratively. Guys have a much more thicker skin. You know what happened to me when I failed to answer a question? I was asked to do 10 push-ups. Girls are never given physical punishment for shit like that. Like, have these people ever heard how loud they sound when they talk? Do girls listen to themselves how loud they are compared to men when they're talking about something, including something about sex? Of course, when we laugh loudly. The reason you think that we are not punished for laughing loudly, because every time you laugh, it is laughing loudly. And teachers, especially female teachers, kept an eye on this. I mean, they were doing good. They were doing good, I guess. The female teachers were also, I remember, like tying the boys' hair up if they had longer hair to publicly shame them. Any guy who had who had long hair, he was shamed. The thing is, even if guys wore shorter pants, they are immediately joked about and humiliated as well. Why the fuck? Nobody wants to see your leg bush. Nobody wants to see a guy's leg hair. It's considered offensive as well. The reason girls get punished for this shit at all, even though they have much lighter punishments, is because they do this shit. No, but someone cannot be getting punished if they don't do it. Guys don't do this shit. The shit guys do, they get punished for 10 times more than what a girl would have been punished for if she did the same thing. Guys would always get punished for not cleaning their nails or not cutting off their nails for 2 weeks. That is the kind of discipline that we guys had to face throughout our lives. Was your parenting questioned? Yes, our parenting was questioned. Yes, our parenting was questioned a lot of times. Lafanga and chapri. What do you think these Indian words are for? Every Indian guy who was slightly outside of the norms of being a perfect good boy had to grow up listening to this shit. He was called all of these names every time he kept something. He dyed his hair a little bit. Every time he cut off the sides of his hair to keep the hair in the middle longer. Every time he grew out his hair. Chakka, what do you think guys have to go through? The fact is, the reason that you even get punished is because you are almost hell-bent on showing off body parts which should be considered sexually sexually attractive to the opposite sex. Guys never open up their fucking zippers to show how big their cock is in the middle of a classroom. Why do you expect yourself to not be facing the same thing? You're doing the equivalent of something like that, and guys do face consequences for growing out longer hair. Guys do face consequences for opening up their shirt buttons. Guys would face the consequences if they did not wear full length trousers. That's just normal. That is 100% of the cases. It's just what it is. It's the problem with you is you people would always sit around and cope that why is society not changing from its fundamental biology to tell men to not find women's thighs and tits sexually attractive, because they always would. The same way you would always find her attractive, the same way that you are completely repulsed by balding, and the same way that you are completely repulsed by narrow frames. So of course, guys are also told to not show off their shoulders if they have good shoulders, of course. Right? Guys are stopped from it as well. Like these people need to stop playing victim and change who they are.